Welcome to the Ideal Investor Show. Join us on the journey to financial success. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Investor Show. And just as a reminder that we have awesome stuff for you on Substack, like, for example, the $10,000 a month positive cash flow calculator that shows you how many properties with how much cash flow do you need to reach $10,000 or $8,000 or even $5,000. So that's one of the perks of joining us and getting the newsletter and having a paid subscription. So I really would like to ask you to consider that. And it's really like, it's less than basically, $8 a month. Especially if you go for the annual subscription, it's even less than that. So plus all the other free stuff, and we're constantly improving. So I would really love to see you do that. Now, what's the title of today's episode? And we're talking in general terms about real estate economics and market analysis. And in that context, I want to get back to the effects of interest rate changes on property values. And fundamentally, as you know, in the residential real estate market, what we are actually part of from a conceptual perspective is a comparative analysis of value. Now, what does that mean? That means that when there are two properties next to each other, let's say like a contractor built two exact same houses, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, same square footage, everything, same technology, appliances and tiles and floors, and everything is the same. And the one is just getting ready for sale and the other one sold 3 months ago. And so comparative analysis means the appraiser that is sent if you want financing for your property is going to look and say, okay, which other house that is equal size, equal age and all of that has recently sold. Now, if that house, the one that sold 3 months ago, let's say sold for $180,000. The appraiser would say the value of the exact same house next door is also $180,000. Now, he or she is not just looking at one house, also going to look at 2 or 3 or 4 others in the area. But if they all basically come in the same ballpark, then the appraiser is going to say, yep, the value of this one that is just coming up for sale is the same comparative to the other ones. Now, the topic is impact of interest rates on price. Somebody putting up this house next to the one that recently sold, and in a current environment where our mortgage interest rates are somewhere in the area of 6 to 7%, depending whether you are going to buy the house to use yourself or buy the house as an investment property, means that the monthly cost would be substantial, probably similar to renting. Now think of a scenario where interest rates finally, after like everybody having speculated for the last 3 years that they should come down, and they haven't yet, but let's just say somehow early next year, early 2026, interest rates start coming down. What will be the impact? Now, right now, people that are potentially interested in this house will have to look at, can we afford it? And it's not just themselves looking at that, but also the banks or the finance institute is going to look at that and consider, can a person that wants to buy it afford it? And because of the high interest rates, a lot of people find out, yes, I would like to buy this house. I really like the neighborhood and all these other criteria, but I can't get the financing because the lender is saying it's too expensive for you. Now, fast forward, let's just speculate that sometime in the spring 2026, interest rates are significantly lower. And so the mortgage is no longer 6 or 7% interest, but let's say it's something like between 4.5 and 5.5 in interest. Now, many more people will qualify for the $180,000 that the house would cost. Now what will happen? Now the real estate agent will get into a situation where people find out, I can afford a $180,000 house, and they look around and they all, or many of them, will find that house. And so the impact on value or the impact on price is going to be that if there is more than one person interested and qualified, and they find out, well, you can get the house for 180,000, but a second person or family wants that same house, they're going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I give you 190 if you give it to me. And then a third one comes around and says, well, but I want it too, and I'm offering 200. And then maybe the one originally that found it initially and wanted it and offered 180 might say, you know, I really, really want it. Now that I've thought about it for a while, I'm offering 205. So now what's happening, and we have had that situation in 2021 before interest rates went up really high, as soon as we get back to interest rates, where more people who are interested in a house start qualifying, there's a very high likelihood that these lower interest rates and more people being qualified will lead to the fact that people will start bidding up the price of houses. Why is that? For one, when you have one house and three people interested, the one who offers the highest price is obviously going to get the house. But the other thing is also, and don't forget that, basically, in a sense, since the end of 2022, a lot of people were left out of the market because they couldn't qualify due to these high interest rates anymore. That doesn't mean that for the last 3 years nobody was interested. It only means they couldn't qualify. And all these people who would have loved to move from an apartment or from a smaller house or from a not so nice neighborhood, all of these generally interested people will now come on the market as soon as they qualify. That's why the prediction is that when interest rates are coming down significantly, I would say when you can get a normal mortgage with like a 4, like 4.5, 4.75, 4.85, and an investment property with some sort of like a 5.5, 5.8, 5.9 interest rate, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will try their very, very best to make the move. And the situation is slightly different than it used to be in the past because the 10 years, about 10 years before 2021, it was not known that there could ever be such an increase in interest rate like we went through in 2022. So now that people know this, they will basically try to secure a house that they can afford and get qualified for by the lender as soon as possible, for being afraid that the situation could change again and they might not qualify again. That's why I'm thinking when a significant change in interest rates is happening, which it will, then there will be enormous pressure on properties that come on the market, and they will probably sell significantly higher than what they appraised for. So just be aware of that and be prepared for that. And that also means the good times for us as investors, where all these people that would normally be interested to buy a house for themselves, they will all come back and they will bid up the prices to levels where we would say the numbers just don't work anymore. We can't make any cash flow anymore. But for them, cash flow is not important. For them, important is that they get the house that they like. So enjoy the times right now. I'm not saying pray for the interest rates to stay high because I think they are really damaging the market. But be aware what that impact of interest rates to the price and value of a house actually is. So with that, be well and stay safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.